we have, and this is obviously has more to do with extreme sports, but now we have Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X. I don't get what that, I don't know, I don't get the name. Like Nas, Lil Nas, Nas, X, whatever. Lil Nas X feels a certain kind of way. Tony Hawk gives a vial of his blood for new promo. Tony Hawk is selling 100 skateboards painted with his blood. Each board boasts a vial's worth of Hawk's DNA mixed in with the paint for the decks. 100 limited edition skateboards priced at a blood-curdling $500 each, sold out almost instantly. No doubt, serious skateboarders occasionally leave some of their blood behind when they take a fall. But a skateboard infused with real human blood? That's a step beyond. Skateboarding legend Tony Hawk actually donated some of his own blood that was then mixed with the paint used on a limited edition run of 100 skateboards, and they sold out instantly. Hawk posted an Instagram video of his blood being drawn and the blood being mixed into a can of red paint that was then applied to the skateboard. Then he worried about skateboard owners being in possession of his DNA and shouted, "No clones." The skateboard idea was a collaboration with water company Liquid Death Mountain Water. The company said on its Instagram that Hawk's blood was sterilized before being added to the paint, and also noted, although it could arguably make the world a better place, never ever use these boards to make clones of Tony Hawk. Representatives of the for Hawk and Liquid Death Mountain Water did not immediately reply for comment. Now this is the board here. I mean, pretty cool board. You know, he's got to be getting paid for this, obviously, in collaboration with these guys. But Lil Nas X calls out the lack of public outrage over Tony Hawk's blood-infused skateboards. The rapper, who faced backlash for his Satan shoes released back in March, points out a double standard after Tony Hawk's limited edition skateboard painted with his blood sells out in minutes with little to no criticism. Well, again, I can understand where Lil Nas X has a little bit of a beef about this, but if you totally understand your situation here, Lil Nas X, your shoe was not pulled because you had blood in it and you called them the, Satan shoes? It wasn't pulled because of that. Your shoes were pulled because they were not the brand of shoe that you used was not your own brand. These were Nike branded shoes that infringed on Nike's intellectual property. Therefore, it is almost an immediate situation where their lawyers are going to file suit and ask that those shoes be removed instantly. Not because you did blood, not because you call them Satan, not because they're yours, not because they were your custom Nikes. It's because you used Nike's shoe. You didn't even talk to Nike about it, which I'm sure if you would have talked to Nike and said, "Hey, I want to collaborate, can we do a shoe and call it Satan shoe?" Hey, Nike would do that. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a guarantee, but I don't see a situation where Nike is like, nah, we're good. It's going to be a custom limited edition shoe. You're a popular public figure. You wear their branded shoes. This was going to be something that would give them even a bigger exposure to your audience. Okay, I mean, it's not like Nike actually needs your help and exposure, but it's not a bad move to make. It's not a bad move to make, and you didn't even think in making this shoe, which honestly, I thought it was a cool concept. I thought it was a cool idea to do it like that. But you didn't even think in all of this, of all of this collaborating you did with the company to do this shoe, you didn't think to yourself, let me holler at Nike, since it does have their check on the side of the shoe. That means you're not educated about how copyright infringement works, which means that's on you. You messed that up, so you can't get mad. Tony Hawk is not using any particular brand of skateboard to do this shoe. He's probably using his own brand of skateboard because I believe he has his own brand of skateboards. That would be like Jordan using, the Jordan brand and putting his blood in the bottom of his shoes, his Jordan shoes. He can do that because it's his brand. I guess, and I randomly ended up on this, but this this at Gundam is here actually speaks to this a little bit. He says, well, one, infringed on Nike's copyright, which is absolutely true. Two, Satan is selling blood shoes with a music video dancing on the devil's dick equals scares Christians. True. I mean, that is true. I'm not saying that that's a reason why his shoe got pulled, but from a social standpoint, absolutely true. Even though, we'll just leave it there. Tony Hawk, old white dude not trying to drum up drama. I don't know what that means. Pulled a race card. Did he pull the race card? He says, now that Tony Hawk has released skateboards with his blood painted on them, and there was no public outrage, are y'all ready to admit y'all were never actually upset over the blood in his shoes, and maybe you were mad for some other reason? No, this is missing the point. That's not why your shoe is not out there. Your shoe is not out there because you infringed on the copyright. That's pretty much where it begins and ends, if you're being honest. You infringe copyright, you probably ain't gonna be able to use that shit, period. And I think somebody here actually speaks to this. Sir, you're very talented and smart. Please don't continue to miss the point. Folks didn't like your shoes because it was a Satan shoe. What? And the vast majority of people, regardless of their views towards your sexuality, don't play with satanic imagery. No one's out to get you. I think that's partially true as well. Generally, people who are of the religious belief system, they generally look at satanic, imagery, and they get a little bit, people get a little bit nervous about that. I don't care. I mean, they're black shoes with red. This is the world history in me coming out. Actually, 666 is incorrect. 666 is not the mark of the beast in the biblical terms. It's actually 999. That is the mark of the beast. 666 is actually a incorrect translation of what the mark of the beast is. But I digress. People do have issues with that. Even with this Tony Hawk thing, I also think that the blood thing is very eccentric. And that is something that people who are of an eccentric nature will find, will find that to be fashionable. I honestly, in a weird way, don't mind that look, but it is a very niche, very outside of the norm thing, and very small portions of the population will actually truly enjoy or see it as something that's a must-have for them. Obviously now his fan base will probably see it as a must-have because it's coming from him, not because they necessarily love blood in shoes. Even with Tony Hawk, it's going to be Tony Hawk's fans who want that. Not because it's coming from him, not because they necessarily would buy a skateboard painted with blood, with real human blood, from any other company if it wasn't coming from a famous skateboarder who they actually admire. That's as far as that goes. So in that regard, I think he's missing the point here. And again, this is where I feel like our society today is our society is very fast to turn to absolutes rather than to use deductive reasoning in order to formulate ideas and logic. People are reactionary, and they are caught in the emotional side before they actually begin to break down and actually process what it is they're mad about, what it is they believe in, and whether or not what they're mad about and what they believe in are consistent over the course of their entire psychological profile when you're talking about, things that you are for or against. Because you can be for one thing in this presentation that it's given to you, and you'll be against the exact same thing if it's presented to you from a different position or a different perspective, even though it is essentially the same concept with the same context applied to it. You would be against it, which means you are not consistent in your reasoning and logic when it does not pertain to something that you obviously care about. In this situation, I think it is a perfect example of that. Lil Nas X is against the notion that Tony Hawk can do something similar to what he did, even though Tony Hawk is doing it the right way, whereas you did it the wrong way. And in a business world, in a business society, that will not fly where the company's brand is being used to market something in one particular way, and you take it and customize it to your liking, and then you market it. It's one thing if you just wore those on your feet as your shoes, but you marketed to sell them, which means now you are involved in the free market capitalism trade, which means you are subject to intellectual property rights that Nike has over that shoe itself, because you're trying to make money off of that. It's not gonna happen. That's not how this system works. It's just not how it works. Shit, you know, so Lil Nas, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I do understand your frustration, but you also should understand that frustration should begin with your inability to recognize that you should have went to Nike to collaborate rather than to do something custom. Don't let somebody put an idea in your head with a marketed product and you think that it's fine if you take their product and use it in the market. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So